Assassin's Creed Shadows is finally out. Oh my god, what a wild ride we've come from. The many delays, the changes in graphical and combat. Just, oh my god, I'm actually really surprised this game's here. I am happy to say they have not done a Skull and Bones. Just because they've delayed it, just because there's been issues, it's not that bad. But we have problems to talk about. Let's just talk about Assassin's Creed Shadows. Let's get into it. So, just to clarify, I was dreading making this video because I am so lucky to be one of the few people that got to play Assassin's Creed Shadows early. When I say early, almost 2 weeks early. This is a first for me and this channel, and I just can't believe it. When I got the email, when I got flown out prior to play the 4-hour launch, I was just like, me? Are you kidding me? This is insane. I was like, I cannot do this without you guys. So just straight off the bat, thank you so much for tuning into the videos, tuning into the lives, and everything you do for me. I can't enough. Thank you guys. But we're here to talk about Assassin's Creed Shadows, and I have a lot to talk about. So right off the bat, I'm just going to tell you right now, as an elevator pitch, Assassin's Creed feels fantastic. It feels so good. It is back to formula in so many ways. Now, just because I played the game early, just because I was lucky enough to get a code, I have some serious negatives to talk about Assassin's Creed Shadows. I was infuriated with certain parts of the game that I had to even email my contact at Ubisoft because I was like, what the hell, guys? What the hell? Why is this happening? Come on, I want this to do well. I want this to do well. I do admire Ubisoft. I still like them as a company. I love their games. I want them to do well, but some things I was like, oh, can we not get this right for once? Please. But they got a lot right. I'm sick of bouncing around the bush. Let's just get into it. So, Assassin's Creed Shadows, Odyssey, Valhalla, Origins, I didn't personally like. That's some context for me as an Assassin's Creed player. I loved 3, Brotherhood, and Revelations. My favorite 3. Black Flag, of course, it's a given. But Shadows is up there with one of my favorite Assassin's Creeds of all time. Now, there is negatives in the sense of story, but I'm going to try and make this as simple as possible to go through. So check out the chapters in case there's certain things you want to see. But I'm going to get started with everyone's favorite topic, which is the combat. Now, of course, we have Yasuke and Naoe, and they are 2 very different characters. Very different. So if you play Yasuke, I'll tell you right now, he is a tank. He is an absolute tank. Every single thing he does is tank. He hits hard. It's mainly parry, attack, dodge ability, and he is so easy to use. He can take on anyone. Doesn't matter if they're a small person with no armor or a boss. Yasuke is the person you want in combat. You want to play as him when you fight. Now, Naoe, however, is fantastic at stealth. She has the assassination ability. Yasuke has it, but it's a brutal assassination. So in other words, it alerts people nearby. Well, Naoe does the traditional stealthy assassination. Now, she is great for maneuvering around, hiding under bushes, clearing out bandit camps slowly, but you know what she's bad at? Face-to-face, one-on-one combat. That is not Naoe's style. I mean, one-on-one, 2-on-1, you're struggling. Any more than a one-on-one fight with Naoe, and you are struggling hard. Now, that's good in the sense of it goes to the people's play style of what you would like to do. Yasuke cannot do stealth. Big, he's large, he stumbles, he's slow, he's easily seen. However, Naoe can. So depending on how you want to play this Assassin's Creed, choose your character. But you know what that does frustrate with me? I always picked Yasuke. Always. The only time I picked Naoe is if the mission was about finding something. So stealthily go in there, find something, get out. Simple as that. But if it was any form of combat, or if I was worried I was going to trigger an alarm or be seen, Yasuke. Because at least you can go in there, guns blazing, kill everyone there, and just waltz on in and take it and move out. It's so much easier to play Yasuke. And the negative with that is almost like, I kind of wish there was one character. I get why they chose 2 characters. The story represents 2 characters, but I hated picking what I wanted to do. I hated that I couldn't be Nawe, but if I got in trouble, I was okay enough with combat that I could take on anyone. I hated playing Yasuke, but the second I wanted to do stealth, it's not possible. That was so frustrating that, lucky enough, in certain aspects, in certain missions, I was able to change from Nawe to Yasuke as soon as a fight happened so I could actually defend myself. I kind of wish we did just get the one protagonist. I really do. Now, I love Yasuke as a character. His story especially I found really good. Like, not to say Nawe's is bad, they're both really good, but I would have much preferred a single protagonist. I think that would have been a lot smoother and just given everyone the playstyle they wanted. They didn't have to choose, it's at your disposal. But the combat in total is kind of a back to formula. No joke, as you play as Yasuke, you can press L1, your parry ability, you will parry anything. You can press it once, press it twice, it doesn't matter. You will parry anything and it's easy. You have unparryable attacks, easy to dodge out of the way. Hack and slash, and because Yasuke is so big and large, he hits so hard, they're not doing anything to disrupt your movements. You can plow through them. It gave me a really old school Assassin's Creed Brotherhood or Revelations feel where you just mow through enemies, where you ended up having a pile of enemies that you just annihilated. It was a fantastic feeling playing as Yasuke, and the combat is A+, fantastic. I love the combat. However, the choice between doing combat or stealth, I hated that. I would much rather just do both. Just do both. Let me do whatever I want. And that's it. Now, similar to the combat, we can move into the world, the stylization of Japan in Assassin's Creed Shadows. Now, I know what you're going to do. You're going to compare this to Ghost of Tsushima a lot. So many people are going to compare this game to Ghost of Tsushima, and there's pros and there's cons to doing that. The pros being that it's just as beautiful. This game is just as beautiful as Ghost of Tsushima. I will say Ghost of Tsushima is more full. When you run around through certain areas that are off the beaten track, it feels natural. It feels like it's okay that you've gone this way. It's okay that you're cutting straight through the field rather than following the specific route. But with Assassin's Creed Shadows, if you go off the beaten track that little bit too far and you're going in between mountains, you get lost in foliage to the point where you're not meant to be there. Or it feels like you're not meant to be there. The trees and bushes are so close together, you can't physically see your character as you're running through the middle of nowhere. You don't know where you're heading. Like, it feels like it was just fill-in texture, not actually meant to be explored. And that's a little bit upsetting because it happens more than once throughout the world. There's areas that look stunning, especially major points of contact like Himeji Castle. It looks spectacular. But when you're off the beaten track, going from point A to point B, which is what you'll spend 40% of your time in this game is traveling, it's a bit upsetting that there's a lot of filler stuff. Now, if you're on the track, it looks spectacular. They have copied the sense of the wind in Ghost of Tsushima, but maybe turned it up to 11. It's a bit extreme sometimes, but it is gorgeous to see those flower petals and other elements flowing through the wind to give you that idea that a giant breeze has just come by. It does feel really nice and absolutely graphically gorgeous, but the texture in where you're not meant to be, and an actual surprising lack of things to do in the world. Like, don't get me wrong, you have your little side things that I'll get into a bit later when it comes to the missions, but there's actually not a lot to do. With Ghost of Tsushima, I found myself going from point A to point B and zigzagging myself depending on what had to be done side mission wise or to get extra skill points. Assassin's Creed Shadows, I didn't find myself doing that. I wanted to go to the main mission and that's where I wanted to go to, and there was nothing in between the main mission. I found that a bit disappointing. Along with the world is what we also have is the synchronization points. We all know what that means. You climb up the building or the tree and you do a synchronization and you see that bit of the map. I have an issue with the fact I think there's way too many of them. Way too many. Like, I'm talking, you can throw a stone and you're at the next one. So that's all the map shows you, is that tiny little bit. and then you can only fast travel by these synchronization points. And it's like, I get why that's how fast travel has to work, but there's so many of them. And it's not like Ghost of Tsushima or past Assassin's Creed games where you do one tower and it will show you almost, 1/8 to 1/10 of the map. No, it shows you 1/40th of the map. I have played this game for 15 to 20 hours. I have barely scratched the surface on the entire map volume. And like, that might be impressive to someone that wants to go explore the world, but when the world is empty and doesn't have much, I won't say empty, when the world doesn't have a lot to offer and it's a little bit annoying going to every single synchronization point, it doesn't make me want to do it, if that makes sense. Now, the world is gorgeous, don't get me wrong. The world is a tick. The map is stunning, it is gorgeous. Even with its negatives, I would say the world that you explore is a big positive. They've done Japan very well in this game. Contradictory to the world is the story. I was so disappointed with the story. Like, it hits the ground hard when you start the game. It goes straight to exposition of Nawe and what happened to her people, how to do the combat. Of course, you do your introductions, you find out main characters of the story, which is just fantastic. The story feels strong. So it started so strong, but it had no legs in the middle of the game. Like, it fell apart. The main concept of the game, as you've seen from the trailers, there are 12 enemies that you must defeat. And taken something that is obviously somewhat part of the Assassin's Creed code. That's it. All you have to do is go and find out and take out all 12 of these bad guys. The entire story. Excuse me if I find that a bit flat. And each character has its own storyline to find out who they are and to progress that level of story. And I'm sorry, I just don't think that's strong enough of a story, especially when it's not working and up the characters as it should, especially Yasuke and Naoe. If you choose a character to play as, they don't interact because there is a concept of knowledge that they're expected to know what each other have been through, but they don't grow the character dynamic between them. Not to mention that it takes 5 to 6 in-game hours just to find Yasuke. You see him at the start of the game, you get a small bit of knowledge that he does exist, but you don't get to meet him till 5 to 6 hours through the game? That's ridiculous. That's way too long. Not to mention that when you do meet Yasuke, about 80% of his story is told through flashbacks. So that's all you experience. You almost get no actual story missions with him. It's all flashbacks. Unlike Naoe, where you actually do get a fair bit of story and exposition through her missions. So I think based on all that, you have a decent idea of what to expect when going into Assassin's Creed Shadows. The game feels fantastic. The story is a bit flat. The world is gorgeous, however, it is a bit lackluster to explore. But it is fantastic for you photo mode people. There are some fantastic photos to take around here. Another thing I will mention, I'm just going to slice this into the video because I kind of forgot about it by the end of it. But before you start the game, there's different modes that you can choose that is very interesting. There's a guidance and non-guidance mode. What this means is when you play a mission, the game is designed for you to have to find it yourself, to actually do some detective work to find out where you're meant to be going and where the character is you need to talk to. In guidance mode, there will always be a mission marker of where you need to go. So depending on how you would like to approach Assassin's Creed Shadows, you can choose whichever way you like. Similar to the story, you could also choose canon mode or non-canon mode. I personally love this option, but if you choose one, you cannot turn it off. So canon mode means everything selected in the story is meant to happen. So you do not get dialogue options. You choose what you're meant to choose and that's it. In the other format, you get to choose what you want to say and it has minor changes into the story. Not a lot. Don't think it's going to change the ending or anything, but in canon mode, it makes a lot of sense. I chose guidance mode to go as fast and as slow through the missions as I wanted to, but I fully understand if you want to be immersed, 100% choose non-guidance. Anyway, let's get back into the rest. But now comes into the biggest part, the issues, flaws, bugs, and game crashes that I experienced playing Assassin's Creed Shadows. Now, everything I'm about to list, I did send to Ubisoft, so by all means, there will be day one patches. This stuff is, even while everyone has been having early to the game, a patch has already gone through to fix a lot of problems. So please believe that they are working hard at maintaining and perfecting this game. But I do feel like I have to express that I did go through these issues. Unfortunately, Ubisoft's issues are still Ubisoft's issues. So, game crashes. Let's talk about the two big things. I experienced two major game crashes that, lucky enough, did not delete my save file. In fact, I barely lost more than 5 minutes of in-game time. So that's not bad at all. However, the fact they happened at all is a bit upsetting. One time is just running away from enemies. I was overrun and I decided to run away, and the game crashed as I was looking at the map. That's it, it crashed. The next game crashes was during a main mission when I finally succeeded and assassinated the target. During a cutscene, it just crashed. Like, the game frozen and there was no way out of it unless I closed and exited the game. Very upsetting, the fact that these things still happen this long into production and after this many delays. It is a bit upsetting, but it doesn't actually beat the game-breaking bug I experienced. Now, if you experience this, please shout out to Ubisoft. They will do their best to fix this. However, what I happened to notice is I found leveling a big issue in the game. What I mean by that is, for example, I would be level 14 to 16 doing main quests that are level 23 to 24. I was extremely under leveled. Now, there wasn't a complete lack of doing side quests. I still did them. I just found the XP that you get per mission was so low that you physically could not attempt the next main mission without getting one shot by any attack. Now, I did push forward with this mission, but unfortunately, being so under leveled, I couldn't pass it. And I was like, okay, I admit defeat. There is a button you can press to quit the current mission you were in. If I press that button, it just brought me to the start of the mission. I was locked into the mission. No matter what I chose, no matter if I shut the game down, if I restarted it, it didn't matter. I was locked into the mission and the mission area. There were invisible animal walls that would not let me pass because I was in the mission itself. Very upsetting. However, how I managed to get through this was quite literally brute forcing my way through the level. By this, I mean running past the enemies, dying further into the field, so therefore I would respawn at a later time, doing it again until I got the mission objective complete. It was very frustrating because, as you can imagine, I'm getting one shot by anything. I get shot, I get a throwing knife thrown at me, I'm dead. And I have to restart the whole thing again, or at least go back to the closest spawn point. It was very, very annoying. And that leads to what I believe is the biggest issue with Assassin's Creed Shadows, and that is the level grind. Some people love level grinding, and I don't mind it. There's some instances I don't mind it. But when I am trying to knock out a main story so I can give you guys the best informative review that I can of this game, and I simply cannot move forward with the main missions because the main missions don't give you enough experience to progress to the next main mission. That irritates me, and not even by a little bit. I'm not talking I'm 1 to 2 levels under leveled. I was 10 levels under leveled, and it was so frustrating to do. On top of that, there were small things like I would get into a boss fight and all of a sudden my abilities would not work. Very annoying, but you can get past that. If you died, it then respawned you with the fact you could use your abilities. Small things like that, small frame rate drops, smoke not working the way it was meant to, it was fluttering, it was lagging a little. It just has the standard bugs that are very frustrating. They're there. It does not break the game experience, so you can play the game, you can progress, you can experience the story, hopefully without these crashes and bugs that I experienced. But they're there and they're getting fixed, guys. They're getting fixed, so give it some time. The issues are there. I feel like I would be neglecting you guys if I didn't tell you. Now, on this channel, I feel like I negative talk a lot of games so much, and especially getting this game a review copy, I want to make sure you guys understand I am doing this for you guys. I am playing these games, I'm experiencing as much as I can because I enjoy it, I love it, but I love you guys more. It doesn't matter that I got an early review. It doesn't matter that I work with Ubisoft. It matters what you guys experience in your gameplay that you're spending your money on. So if I think something's not right, I'm going to tell you. And I hope this video gets that across. I wanted to make it perfectly clear I do love Assassin's Creed Shadows. I think the game is so much fun. I think Yasuke is a brute and he's awesome. I think Nawe's story is especially compelling and her stealth is great. I think the world is stunning graphically. I think they've put a lot of time and effort into this game. Unfortunately, there's still bugs. There's still graphical errors. There's still issues with story that I wish was better, but it doesn't stop the experience from being positive. And I hope that point gets across. Now, do I think this game is worth it? 100%. The game has issues, it has bugs, there's things I would prefer. Like, I didn't realize I would prefer there to be one protagonist compared to the two, but without a doubt, Assassin's Creed Shadows is an absolute win for Ubisoft. Seriously, I am interested in where they are going to go from here. After Assassin's Creed Shadows, if this goes well with the community, I'm really curious about what they're going to do next. But that's me, guys, and once again, I do have to thank Ubisoft ANZ. Thank you so much for the care, love, and experience that you've given me with Assassin's Creed Shadows and prior Star Wars Outlaws. I can't tell you how much I've enjoyed and loved working with Ubisoft ANZ. They are some spectacular people, I tell you right now. Get away from the internet for a while and talk about the people on the ground. They are doing some fantastic work. They love their community, they love their player base, and they are trying so hard to make these games as good as possible for you guys. I please know that I mean that from the bottom of my heart, but I will not shape my opinion because of that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what else you want to see from Assassin's Creed Shadows, and if you decide to pick it up, let me know what you think of it. I love you guys so much. I hope you stick around, so hit the subscribe button. I'll see you in the next one. See you later.